Targaryen dragons are mentioned quite a bit, but are there other kinds of dragons in the world that aren't Targaryen dragons? And for the record, what is a Targaryen dragon and where does that term come from? Allow me to explain. Say Targaryen dragon 5 times fast. Okay, first part, let's get it out of the way. What is a Targaryen dragon and why do we keep using that term? Well, all the dragons that we have seen in the series, whether it's in the Fire and Blood era like House of the Dragon, or it's in the main timeline of A Song of Ice and Fire like in Game of Thrones, they are all descendant from the same line of Targaryen dragons. In other words, back in old Valyria, when there were dragon riders everywhere, they were actually concentrated. So in Valyria, there were only 40 families who could be dragon riders. They bred their own dragons, and each of these families, had control over a handful. But then, of course, the Doom happened, and the Doom took everyone out, both a dragon and human alike. Everyone got buried, old Valyria went bye-bye. That is, except the Targaryens, because the Targaryens, thanks to a very well-timed prophecy for Daenerys the Dreamer, had left Valyria, I think, like 10 years before the Doom, along with 5 of their dragons, i.e. the Targaryen dragons. So, unlike the dragons belonging to other families who, stayed and unfortunately got buried in ash and volcano stuff, the Targaryen ones, who had belonged to House Targaryen, they survived. Those are the dragons that would reproduce and then eventually, populate the later Targaryen timeline. So all the dragons you see in Fire and Blood, House of the Dragon, are descendant from the same dragons that left Valyria with the Targaryen family. And so by the time you get to Aegon's conquest, there are only 3 dragons alive in the world, all belonging to the Targaryen family. You had Balerion, which had come from old Valyria with the original group of Targs that left. There was Meraxes, and then there was Vhagar over here. And then all the other dragons that came after them are descendant from at least one of these 3. I think most people agree that they all come from Vhagar. And then even Dany's dragons, who we see in the main timeline, and they came from petrified eggs, most people heavily speculate that they are actually eggs that come from Targaryen dragons. Now, at this point, I have to say that there's 2 kind of explanations floating around for where those eggs come from. One comes from the books, and then another one comes from the TV show House of the Dragon. So House of the Dragon makes it look like the eggs that Dany eventually gets are actually ones that Rhaenyra had given to Raina and like the young kids when she sends them away. Because at some point you see her give 4 dragon eggs away with Raina, and they are from Syrax's most recent clutch. The implication being that Syrax is the mother of Dany's eventual dragons. Now, why they chose to do that, I don't really know, because there's already an explanation that everyone kind of nods and agrees on from the books, which is distinctly different. So in the books, the original Raina Targaryen, not the one from House of the Dragon, but the OG person to have that name, who was the granddaughter of Aegon the Conqueror, she had, let's say, some sapphic troubles. Now, Raina had a lot of very close personal female friends who, she needed to have around her at all times, and they would eventually fight and break up, and it was always very tragic. But one of the last times that happened was with her very close personal female friend, Alyssa Farman. Now, Alyssa Farman was this, basically, she wanted to be a big adventurer. And so one day, after some particularly heated argument and strife, etc., she disappears along with 3 dragon eggs. This is important because those dragon eggs had come from a clutch of Dreamfires. Dreamfire was Raina Targaryen's dragon. In House of the Dragon, later on, she is Helaena Targaryen's dragon. But basically, Alyssa disappears with them, and it's basically speculated that she sells them so that she can purchase a big ship. Also, the fact that it's 3 dragon eggs seems very, hey, 3 dragon eggs disappear and then 3 dragon eggs turn up later. That's weird. Also, the location lines up because I believe she stole them and then she would have sold them. I think it was in Pentos. Maybe I'm making that up. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Y'all love to do that. Though I do appreciate it, to be clear, when you're nice about it. If you're going to be a bitch, I'm going to be angry and I'm going to, not be nice to you back. I don't know what to say. Anyway, dragon eggs disappear. They are sold off eventually. Hey, Dany gets gifted 3 dragon eggs. You can put 2 and 2 together. Okay, so is that the end of it? Okay, now we know why they're called Targaryen dragons, who the Targaryen dragons are, etc., etc. Is that it? Are there no other dragons in the world? Well, maybe. While all the dragons that were in Valyria are good and gone, and like, please, like, according to the text, they're good and gone. Like, you can speculate all day long. There is no evidence to it. But there is rumor and legend surrounding several other kinds of dragons. The first one appears in Ashai. Specifically, the Shadowlands around Ashai, it is rumored that there are dragons, rustling around in there. At one point, Bran is having a crazy-ass vision, and he sees dragons stirring in Ashai, and, combine that with the rumors that there are already dragons there, and there you go. There's a possibility maybe something is there. Do we know much more than that? No, not really. So, sorry. But beyond the possible dragons that might be roaming around the Shadowlands, are there any other dragons? Well, yes, let me tell you, there is one more kind that we have heard a little bit about, though again, it's only in rumor. And those are, of course, ice dragons. Ice dragons, which are rumored to roam around the Shivering Sea. The Shivering Sea is like the northernmost sea in the world. It's above Essos. But there are all these rumors that ships will disappear and they're taken out by ice dragons who breathe ice and turn everything to ice, and then it shatters. And they've never been seen because if you kill an ice dragon, if you like pew it, it melts, basically. Very convenient, I know. So once again, this is just rumors. They have not been seen in actuality in any of the texts. But anyway, drop in the comments like who your favorite dragon is. There's a bunch of them. I've been thinking about doing a series where I go over like each dragon in its own video and talk about them and what they're like, what they look like, etc. I think that might be fun. Let me know what you think. Tell me who's your favorite, and maybe I'll make a video on them. Okay, have a good night, y'all. Bye.